Hey guys, so you know what time it is. It's time for Sims. So recently I received an email from EA stating that I was one of a few who have been chosen to get the demo of The Sims 4 Create a Sim. What I found was interesting. A lot of the things are different, obviously. It's The Sims 4. They had come out with a bunch of new ideas to improve The Sims. But depending on your opinions, it could either be an improvement or taking a few steps back. I couldn't think of the opposite of improvement for some reason. I guess unimprovement works for now. The intro is extremely happy. I clicked this play button and was extremely excited. I had touched upon it a little bit yesterday. I was extremely confused, even though I'd watched multiple videos leaked by EA. So, to begin with, the Create a Sim is much different than it used to be. Instead of having a list of categories on the left-hand side, you now have to click everything to edit anything. You drag after you click, and you can see the red zones when you drag there, but it's not as simple as one would think. It actually is a sort of difficult to drag and change the sizes of everything. For that, I'm not sure why, and it changes direction a lot. For example, if I were to drag left, it would make it larger, but then if I click something else and drag left, it makes it smaller. So it's not very consistent in that sense, but it's not really a big deal. You can kind of figure it out as you go along. Unfortunately, with the demo, the only thing that you can make are young adults, which was okay because basically when you play Sims, that's the majority of things that you make. Unless you are a true Simmer and you make families and allow them to grow up, which is not something that I typically do. Here you also have the two bars that can adjust muscle and body weight, along with you just dragging and dropping, and a couple of preset body weights. Moving into the clothing, I was slightly disappointed in the selection. It was kind of confusing to me to begin with, that if you just click, it's everything, and then the subcategories come out after you click. It's also slightly difficult to understand in the way that nothing really goes in order because it starts by you clicking it. So it's not just a list as it used to be of body, and then clothing, and then personality, etc. It's more of you kind of have to figure it out as you go along, which isn't bad once you get to know the game, but being that this is a demo and the game hasn't even come out yet, obviously I do not know the game that well. The tattoos and arm thing is a little confusing as well, only because I eventually thought, well, it's in two rows, so one is left arm, one is right arm, and then I figured out that that was not the case. So you just have to pay close attention to what you're doing when you're doing it, because it's not, as straightforward as it seems to be. They also have preset styles in each category. That would be everyday, formal, sleepwear, and party, which you can pick from. There's usually around 4 or 5 of those. For sleepwear, there's, I think, less, maybe 3. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of using these because I like my things to be very customized, but I did base this character off of one of these looks. As you can see, I was scrolling around for a little while trying to figure out what I could do, because he was kind of supposed to look like a tough guy who likes to ride motorcycles, and you know the stereotype. But it wasn't that simple, being that when you click on things, instead of being able to customize them as you are in The Sims 3, it's more of a preset custom that you can click, as you can see here, with the colors and the pans. And all the shirts have those little tiny ones before you click them, and you can change all of that, but that comes with patterns and different colors, so it's not just a different color, it's also different patterns, but you would have to click on them to find that out, because it's not always so obvious unless you click. What I did realize was that you could adjust foot size, and the bigger the better. But you could also, there are a few things that really everything you can customize. It includes foot size, legs, arms, chest, butt, everything is pretty much customizable. The only thing that I find difficult to handle was like the face. The eyes and the nose were a little confusing to me, so I chose not to mess with it too much. I kind of get the idea, but in Sims 3, whenever I made a sim, I knew where to go, how big to make every specific detail. Sims 3, I believe, was slightly more detailed than this one is. This one is more of a, you drag it to what you want it to be, and the Sims 3 was you drag the little bars to make it either really this way or really that way, so there was a sense of guidance in that. This is totally on your own, which is slightly more confusing, but slightly, it's better if you want to be more custom and you want to be more creative, but it's a little more confusing if you're not really familiar with the Sims type gaming. Obviously those people, well, not obviously, but most of the time the people who play Sims are very used to the Sims life. For me, for example, I've been playing since elementary school, so it started all with the Sims, actually the first Sims for GameCube, and continued all the way to my obsession with The Sims 4 to this very day. When you go into facial hair, they have... The facial hair, I think, is a big improvement. It's much more realistic looking, I think. And I found that this man was getting beautiful as time went on, and I was enjoying it. Another thing that I couldn't figure out was why my sim was wearing makeup by default. I originally thought that his eyes just looked weird and dark, but then I eventually realized that he was wearing makeup, and I couldn't figure out why that was, if that was like a default thing, or that was just me being extra special, because sometimes I like to be extra special. As I went through the categories, I eventually found things that I liked. Obviously, you don't really have much of a choice. Now, my only question for this is, in The Sims 3, I had a ton of downloaded content. Is that going to work with The Sims 4? Are we going to be able to have downloadable content? I don't understand why we wouldn't, because it seems to be a big part of EA's thing. Just that I found that there wasn't a large selection. The shoes specifically were something that I was not very thrilled with. Of course, I'm just stating the negatives. There are a lot of positives and upsides to this. It's not laggy at all. The quality is fantastic. And overall, I was really happy with it. It's just the selection seems to be a bit dull to me. I think there was a huge improvement in the tattoo quality. And the only thing I would say is that it's not as... You can't make it as custom as you used to. With the tattoos, you used to change the size and how dark it was and how light it was. With this, you can't really do that. You just kind of pick one of the pre-made colors for them, which I found in the tattoos weren't really drastically different. It was more of just like a lighter look and a darker look. So I guess in that sense, that could be how dark and light it is, but it's really supposed to be the color. So that changed my opinions on that a lot. I eventually found this dog tag that I was thrilled with, so there's that. Moving into the personality, I thought this was a lot of fun. Again, what I was really disappointed in is there's not a very large selection of traits. In Sims 3, there was a huge list of traits that you could have for your Sims, and this one I found wasn't like that. So I was a little disappointed in that as well, but I thought that the customizing of the walk and stuff like that was a lot of fun. Here it is again. The walk is a lot of fun. What I didn't realize to begin with was that you could turn them to look at the walks. I didn't really think of it, I guess. I knew you could, I just didn't think of doing it. And it's kind of fun to look at it from all the angles. For her, I chose the perky walk, I believe. The other thing that I loved was the voice change. It's really interesting how it breaks it up into 3 different categories, and then you pick the pitch of it. That was a lot of cool. That was really cool to me. Only because when I had originally first bought The Sims 3, there was a glitch in my game where the pitch didn't really make a difference. It all sounded the same. And then when I re-downloaded it again, it finally worked, but there wasn't a huge difference. But this one is really specific. You have that raspy quality and then that smooth quality, and then the musical one is very up and down kind of thing. It's very stage quality, if that makes sense to you. If not, then you probably aren't a music kid and you just don't understand it because you're not a music kid. For her, I had this problem where I put the necklace on and then I couldn't remember how to get it off. I couldn't figure out what category it was in because I was looking under accessories, as you can see. And then I got obviously wrapped up in other things, but I was looking under accessories and I just couldn't figure it out. It's more like the original Sims in that sense, where earrings and necklaces are under head items as opposed to accessories. So you have to go to head and then accessories, and then you can get the necklaces and the earrings, which took me a while to figure out. I didn't quite get that. The other thing is, obviously, you can edit everything the same with females as you can with male Sims. All the body and, like, drag and drop. Dragging is the same, obviously, with the Sim boobs. You can make them perky or saggy, which was kind of funny to me, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted her to be... Actually, as I was making her, I was thinking a lot of, if you know Gregory Gorgeous, the makeup seemed to remind me of her. And it was really interesting to me that I wanted her to kind of be like this tatted, really fun girl, but I also wanted her to be like really into her makeup and like her clothes and stuff like that because I thought it would be fun. If you guys don't put this much thought into your Sims, then I'm sorry for you, but I do. In case you hadn't realized, the categories for the clothing do not include pool wear anymore because there is no pools in The Sims 4. I had read a little while ago that they weren't including pools or toddlers, but when you originally go in to create a Sim, it looks like toddler is a choice. Whether that's a child or a toddler, I'm not entirely sure because I don't remember, to be honest, but it looked like that was a choice. Another thing that I thought was really interesting and a huge relief is that you can change makeup with each category of clothing for female Sims. You could also do that in The Sims 3, but it was an update and it wasn't with the game originally. It was a little lock that you had to unlock or keep locked. And if you unlocked it, you could change it for each category, and if you left it locked, it was the same for each category. And it was also the same for the hair. For The Sims 4, it seems to be that it's all kind of consistent in the sense that there is no lock, but it's automatically what you select first for every category, and then you can change it, and it doesn't change it for the rest of the categories. It stays as the first one. As you can see, as you saw when I did the fishtail braid as opposed to her hair being down for both athletic and sleepwear. A thing that kind of annoyed me is that you couldn't customize the colors, obviously. I said that before. But because I couldn't match her top to her bottom exactly, so I eventually just decided to leave them mismatching, which was okay with me, and then I just matched her shoes because they had orange and blue in it. See, now you can see what I mean by the makeup and stuff and the hair automatically being what you originally selected. But I liked that it was like that, and also the eyeshadow was much more detailed than it was in The Sims 3, which is more fun because it's more, it's just prettier, I think. If you want to do eyeshadow, you should go hardcore. I liked that the eyeshadow and the eyeliner weren't a combined package, and that you could pick which one you wanted for each. Again, with the personalities, I thought it was really cool that you can click one big, choice, hers was creative, and then you had 2 choices or 3 choices from the creative. So this was her finally, and it took me a little while to decide that I wanted to name her Gina. So Gina and Jesse, kind of like boyfriend versus girlfriend, which is a little ironic because it wasn't intended. And then as you saw, I had just gone into the, you can create a twin or a sibling, and that was playing with genetics. This is just, you can change the pictures and stuff of the household and then save it and import it or whatever to the library. This was telling me that it was inappropriate, but that's fine. So this was the final family. I did make them married. You can also edit relationships. from the beginning. What kind of annoys me about this one, which was also an update in The Sims 3 and not originally there, is that it's either roommate, sibling, or married. There's no fiance or boyfriend-girlfriend option, which was an option, as I said, in The Sims 3, but as I also said, it was an update and not there originally, so, also thinking that this was a demo, that it's not the completed version, I'm not entirely sure. You can see in the top left corner of this picture that it goes young adult, teenager, and obviously that is a child and not a toddler, so they did, I didn't misread that. It was that they took out toddlers, and the pools, for some reason, they did say that it was because they wanted to focus on other aspects of the game. Me personally, it was a disappointment because I really enjoyed having toddlers and all the activities that come with toddlers, such as teaching them to walk and talk and potty training, and just interacting with them I thought was a lot of fun. So now that comes to the question is, what is the pregnancy going to be like, and is that even included? Because I haven't looked into that just yet, but now I'm going to have to, because if they get pregnant, obviously they have the option of having children, but if they get pregnant, does it just come out a child, or does it come out an infant, as it always has, and then you can't do anything with them until they grow up and they instantly become a child instead of a toddler? So there is that. Basically, this is the final page. It's like the loading page when you click Save the Family in The Sims 3. Overall, I think the game is a success. It's just slightly disappointing in the sense that it's not quite as customizable as The Sims 3, and that seemed to be their whole thing, was that they wanted it to be more custom and more into the personality. And that's kind of it, though. It's more towards the personality of the Sim than it is to the customizing of the Sim, like, physically. There are a lot of cool changes and a lot of new things that you can do and a lot of old things that you can still do. Overall, I probably would say that I'm absolutely going to get the game because I'm a Sims fanatic, but I have to say that I don't really know much because it's just the demo, but I am really leaning towards The Sims 3 at this point, and you can pre-order it on Origin for $70. The $70 package, however, on Origin includes the exclusive items, which is just a few more things that you don't get if you pre-order the regular package, which I believe is $60, as opposed to what the game used to be, which was $50, and I believe that was the original price of The Sims 3. It was somewhere around $50 or $60. I'm almost positive it was $50, but regardless of the money amount, I will still be purchasing it in September when it comes out. I believe it was September, but again, I could be wrong. There was a lot of different dates thrown around at me. So this has just been a demo of The Sims 4. I hope I helped you guys in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that you buy The Sims 4 because I know I am. Have a good one, guys.